Okay, so it is still February the 5th, 2024. The time is now 9:22 a.m. Okay. There is a difference between self-isolation and Jesus causing you to separate yourself from others or from a person, place, or thing. I give you some examples. Hagar self-isolated herself from Sarah because she was being dealt with very hardly. And see, it was funny because she didn't see what she was doing to Sarah. She didn't see how her heart turned against Sarah after she conceived seed. See, you need to check what you're giving if you're getting something that you don't like. If you don't like what you're getting, check what you've been giving. Okay? So she became despised. She started despising Sarah because she conceived seed of Abram and immediately. Sarah had been married to Abram for so long, ain't conceived nothing. So she despised Sarah, flowing her big old belly. Sarah dealt with her behind sharply. That was the fruit of her actions. The fruit of Hagar's actions was being dealt with sharply. Want to know why people are treating us a certain way? What have you done? What did you give out? What spirit did you operate in? How did you actually treat them? And I'm talking about the heart, not your mouth, because we can say a whole lot of things with our mouth, but our heart is always the one telling the truth about how we truly feel about a person, about a place, and about a thing. So I don't look at people's words, I look at their actions. So she wanted to self-isolate. I'm getting up out of here because I know better. Oh, then she was instructed by an angel of the Lord to return and submit herself to her mistress. Later on, then the Lord brought forth a separation. Same people. Different time frames. But the Lord said to Abram, now hearken to the voice of thy wife, because the wife said, you know what? I see something in the spirit going on with that Ishmael and with our Isaac, and I don't like it. I don't like what I'm seeing. She told her husband. It hurt his heart, but the Lord said, hearken. So then the Lord brought a separation to do what? Protect the seed, the Isaac seed. To protect the Isaac seed. See, the Lord will bring about separation to bring forth a protection. You better stop holding on when the Lord says time to let go. Because you're going to bring forth your demise. Trying to hold on to a person, place, or thing when the Lord said that season is over. Walk in your now. Stop holding on to your yesterday. That season's over. I'm not even there anymore. I done moved on. You want to move with me? Another example is Abram. His dad, I think it was Terah. I believe it's in the book of Genesis 33. I could be wrong, but I know it's in Genesis. He thought that after his son died, that he was just going to go to Canaan with his idolatrous self. I'm going to go ahead to Canaan. So he self-isolated. It was not a God-ordained isolation for him to leave where he was. So they get to Huron. Didn't even make it to Canaan. What happened to Terah? He lost his life. He died. With his idolatrous self. And then what did God do with Abram? He said, now I need you to rise up, get from your house, your kindred, and your people into the land of Canaan that was destined for you. Promised to you and your seed. People trying to tap in and follow folk to enter into their land. Somebody else's promise? How you going to? Child, you better find your own promise. Trying to tag along with me? Child, you be done lost. Because you can't handle this. Are you even willing to give up your idols? Are you willing to serve only one God? But you so full of you and a person and a place and a thing, you ain't willing to give up that threefold situation. I'm just going to carry these with me into the promise. Here we go, y'all. Into the promised land. Child, please. Terah died. Terah died. And we self-isolating, thinking it's the Lord. But have you noticed that you have more trouble in your self-isolation than when God calls you to isolate from others? Because when He's doing it is to bring forth something out of you, to bring forth something in you. Christ was driven into the wilderness after being full of the Holy Spirit. That was a God-ordained isolation for 40 days. And he still came out full with the Spirit. That's how you know the difference between self-isolation and God-ordained isolation. Do you come out filled with Him? Or still filled with you? More confused, more discombobulated, more overwhelmed. But God called me to come out and be separate, said the Lord. And He's calling me to leave my family and my kindred and my people. Then there should be fruit from that. There should be visible, healthy fruit from that calling out, from that separation, from that isolation. That people will say, oh yeah, the Lord, look at Abram was blessed beyond measure. When the Lord called him out from those. And I'm sure people didn't understand what he was doing. Why would you leave, sir? You rich. Which God told you that? The God of gods told me. The God with the no name, told me this is what I needed to do. Sure, he looked really disturbed and crazy to his family, to his kindred, and to his people, but he obeyed the Lord. Another form of isolation or God's separation is when you outgrow someone, something, or a place. Abram took Lot with him. And they got along just fine. But what happened was they grew in size as they traveled, as they went along, as they dwelt and communed together. And then their people, their herdsmen, was fighting with their herdsmen. So there was infighting within the ranks in the camp. They outgrew the land that they dwelt in. So the Lord will bring a separation when you start outgrowing people and places and things. So Abraham said, you pick. If you pick the right, I'll go to the left. If you pick the left, I'll go to the right. So there'll be peace between you and I. Sometimes you outgrow a person, a place, and a thing. Don't mean it's sin. Just means it's time for the Lord to develop you individually now instead of a collective situation, a community situation. Now the Lord needs to deal with you individually. We got to know the difference in the spirit in which we're doing it. Are we doing it because we're discouraged and we're hurt and we don't like what's going on around us or like the people that are in front of us trying to feed us something? Or is it God doing it? God bringing in this driving out? Is it the Lord or is it you? Either or, it's going to be fruit, visible fruit. Self-isolation, you're going to be dealing with the same thing season after season after season after season after season, and there's no growth. Oh, the enemy loves cycles. The enemy loves unhealthy, toxic cycles, because in doing so, you're distracted and you're wasting so much time. But thank God he's so gracious and loving to us that he will redeem the time that the cankerworm and the palmer worm and the locust have eaten. But you got to submit. And then you have to do it his way. You got to do it his way, not yours. Your way's going to get you in trouble 100% of the time. You got to submit. You got to obey. You got to deny yourself. Take up your cross and follow the Lord daily. This flesh has got to be crucified. Has to be put on that cross daily and killed in the spirit. And it can be done. So if you're isolating yourself, make sure it's the Lord, not you. Because your feelings is hurt. You was offended. Make sure it's the Lord driving you out. And not your emotions doing the driving. Satan loves it, people, God. Satan loves it. Satan loves, he loves it. He loves it. When is enough enough? When are you going to say, no, not this time? Not this time, flesh. I've been through this cycle and I know how it ends. I want something different. Stop living in a cycle of insanity, repeating the same cycle, repeating the same seasons, and expecting something different. It's not going to happen. With the same mindset, we need to be renewed in the spirit of our mind daily. No one's exempt. Put on the mind of Christ. So if you can put on, know that you can take off too. Put it on and keep it on, yo. And if you find that you take it off, find it and put it back on again. Oh, woe is me. Where did I put the mind of Christ? Child, don't play. You put it where you left it. So go back where you left off and pick it up and put it on. To God be the glory. I love you.